Hello, everyone. It's Dina Mitchell from the Realize Foundation, and I'm here today with Treyonda Towns. And we're here to talk about the Scars to Stars Volume 2 book that's coming out on September 22nd. We're super excited about it. We had such a great response to the first book, and we know that it helped so many people, and it reached a lot bigger audience than I expected in the beginning. So we're super excited about this book, and we're here to talk a little bit about Treyonda's story. And so, Treyonda, would you share with us? I'm sorry, my Facebook was up and I didn't want it to echo. Um, would you share a little bit about your chapter and what you wrote about?
Yes. My chapter was called The Next. And it talks about that journey of forgiveness and what that looks like when you're fully stepped into forgiveness. Um, we talk about forgiveness and we offer forgiveness often, right? But yet there's still patterns that may come up and arise, or behaviors that um, it's evident that forgiveness has not really kind of manifested within your full being, and it's affecting different areas of your life. um, and so yes, yes.
Yes, forgiveness can be a really hard thing, and it
Mhm.
can also be very freeing and healing when you can get to that place you're talking about, and you can manifest it in a way that really does release that from your body, and holding it sometimes even causes us stress and you know health issues even when we're really stressed and not in that place. So thank you for sharing that, because I think that applies to everyone. We all have people or things in our life that we are trying to let go of or need to forgive, and it's hard. It's
Yeah,
very hard.
yes.
um, So will you see? I said, um, maybe you could also tell us. My second question is about, your experience being part of this project and actually writing something very personal, and how did that how did that affect you? And I know you were dealing with some hard stuff in the middle of it. So whatever you want to share.
Yes. I said the too. My experience, it allowed me to really be true to myself, to be free, to forgive myself, um, walking away and not just focusing on forgiving the person, the places, the people, the situations that cause us harm, but allowing that also to detour and come back to us. Let's see, just just culturally, the church kind of was kind of that place, growing up. There was a hunger and desire to kind of know who you are, where you come from, and the why this happens to me, why is this like that. And then you're programmed, honestly, to forgive, right? And so we can go through the formality of forgiving, but once again, I truly believe, just by walking this journey, there is a true transition and transformation that comes with genuine, intentional forgiveness that
Mhm.
causes a shift in your life, where you can see the difference from when forgiveness was, okay, I'm forgiving because this is what I have to do and it's the right thing to do, to a place of forgiving because it's who you are and what needs to happen and that you deserve it too. We're taught that, to forgive And a lot of times it's not explaining that the forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about you as well. But when you carry the burden of others for so long, um, you you don't know how to offer that same forgiveness and release to yourself. And so I attempted it with the first book, right? And I got caught in the shift of that birthing place of that. And it took me to a place of like when the new year started, of saying, okay, this is really the year of release and letting go for me. And it was like the little small tangible things. Okay, yes, I'm gonna release, I'm gonna let go, you know, the people, places, and things that doesn't best serve me now. And we hear that a lot. But when you're really walking into that, and there was just a place that I'm destined to be, and there's a desire to see some evidence in the end of some purposes set for my life. I believe we are all created for some true purpose and destinies. And so, what does that mean? Right? What does that mean to truly forgive and to let go and to release? And so, words has always meant something for me. Um, and I always have been a person of making sure I'm choosing my words right because they do have power, and they do affect us. And part of my release and my letting go is those words that had been said to me that was very damaging to me, that caused me harm, that took away my hope, that took away my joy, that caused me to fear success, that caused me to stay stuck in fear of failing, that caused me to be in a place of always trying to get validation from the ones that I felt should had been there automatically because you brought me into this world, right? To a place of I couldn't find my words anymore to put them on paper, to truly describe, or I was afraid to use my words that gave me the power that show that um, I do deserve, right, forgiveness, love, respect, that I am worthy, right, and that I am a winner in all things, in all areas, even in my brokenness. And so being a part of this, it kind of pushed me to be okay because it gave me the accountability, right? It's kind of like you're 1,000 miles away, but it's like this sense of connectiveness where you pushed in a nurturing kind of way to say, okay, I understand, and that's okay, right? But you got to get this out of you, right? And that was so life saving for me, um, because it's easy to slip into that isolated, dark place and to put that coat back on that, okay, I'm going to show up, but I'm still carrying this thing. And so,
Mm.
writing and being a part of this project at this very instrumental time in my life has been kind of like the defibrillator that I need. Um, and not just for this project, for every area of my life. I had no idea, I didn't foresee what was going to happen in that journey with my mother. I had been living the journey with losing my daughter. Um, but a part of how my life was being stagnated and repeating these cycles was, yes, I said I forgave my mother, but I had not let go and released the things that caused me to need the forgiveness, right, for myself,
Mhm.
and take away the blame and the shame for myself. Um, and so it started out with the light journey, of the past into becoming a life story with this next volume and launch.
Mhm. Well, I appreciate your vulnerability and your feedback about how it affected you, because I think that the theme through these two books have been, and there will be a lot more,
Mhm.
but the theme so far has been, okay, I would like to be part of this book and share my story, and help draw attention to something that I'm, whatever cause is in each person's life,
Mhm.
and I'm going to use my story to help others.
Mhm.
And that happens 100%. But what
Mhm.
also happens is it helps us. It helps us heal. It helps us process. It
Mhm.
helps us become more true to ourselves,
Mhm.
because we are talking about real things. And it's hard. It's hard for everybody.
Yes,
I
it
wrote
is.
a chapter in this book. I didn't write a chapter in the first book, but I wrote the foreword, and that was hard. Because we were talking about, the books in general are to prevent suicide prevention, or to prevent suicide and reduce the statistics by connecting on a human level with people through personal story.
Mhm.
And in the first book, I explained why this even mattered to me, which was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, because I hadn't talked about it for 23 years and nobody really knew what I had gone through. And so this book, I was like, okay, I'm going to write a chapter about something totally different. And so it's about invisible scars, like what we deal with that people don't see.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of what you're talking about kind of goes along with that theme, even though my chapter is very different. It's more about health
Mhm.
situations, but it's it's true. We all have scars that people can't see. And I always say, like, what if you're on the bus and there's a stranger sitting next to you? You have no idea what's going on with them and
Mhm.
what's in their head and what they're dealing with. Just like you might even not understand what your spouse is dealing with. You know,
Yes.
if it's somebody that's much closer to you, but they still might have things that, like forgiveness, or things that have plagued them for a long time that they don't talk about, just like I didn't talk about a suicide attempt for so long. So
Mhm.
it's really um enlightening, I think, in this book, how much of that kind of stuff we talk about in each chapter, whether it's addiction, or whether it's abuse, or whether it's forgiveness, or whether it's, you know um endometriosis, which is something I wrote about. So you just don't know what people are dealing with, and it was my way of saying that we need to be more kind, and what your acts of kindness might mean to someone else might be so much bigger than you can even imagine.
Yes.
So, do you have any last words you want to share?
Well, and thank you, because that's true what you're saying. Because even this, it kind of just brought up just some things that I never shared about, right? And how those invisible scars are there that sometimes you don't realize, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know this book is a little bit different, um, but even reflecting on the things that affected me, where it was easy. I had learned to disappear, right? My cutoff was strong, right? I can be a part of the solution. I could just disappear. And I got good at that, right? But why? Why do I need to disappear when someone else is causing me harm or has caused me harm?
Mm-hmm.
And so I never share that. And I think preparing for today's interview, just some things begin to recall, um,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of where the anxiety was coming from, of really living true to my word, as that I'm stepping into a next where I'm completely showing up all of me, no longer being ashamed of any part of me and any level of me. And there's so many different areas of me that people don't know and they have not seen. And so when I do show up, they're surprised, like, oh, I didn't, it's always been there, but I always hid it, right? Because I didn't feel like it was valuable. Um, Even remembering, those are times that I had to visit my mom as a young child in the hospital because I do remember the times that my mom had attempted taking her life, right? But not knowing what that was about truly. And so,
Mhm.
even showing up, even though I wasn't part of the first book, in the second volume, it still brings me to this place. Okay, I have to allow that scar to heal because it comes in my mind. And a lot of people don't understand why I can go into a space and they don't hear from me and they don't see from me, because I have to remember that those were the places I was pushed. And even as 11-year-old child, I had got so good at disappearing. Well, I had to be. It was always that I was made to stay isolated from everyone. But it had got so bad that at 11, and I've never shared this. My mom was always sick, and so she always kept a medicine cabinet full of pills. And I remember one day I went in and I took a whole bunch of these pills, right? And I was sleeping out of here. And my mother never figured it out. She just kept on trying to wake me up. Why are you not hearing the door? What's wrong with you? It just kept being the same pattern and behavior, like, oh, you're just not one. And and I was sleeping at 11 years old, and she never figured it out. And there's times I think about that, and I'm grateful that there was something bigger and greater than me that kept me and say, it's not time because there's something greater for you, right? And so when I think about those times I sat there and said, why me? Why me? Why I have to go through this and why it has been so hard? I think about those times that it could not have been me, especially in this time where we as adults, we want everybody to respect our pain and our journey and what we're going through. And we have young people right next to us, our own children and our friends' children, and just children walking down the street. And they've already decided that tomorrow is not for me. And they have this plan, and we're so busy being the authority figures that we're not listening. And so when my daughter passed and she's been gone, I a lot of times reflect on the times that she probably was considering that this world didn't deserve her. And she was going through so much, and I just was trying to be the parent and be the best. And there was times that I sit back and I listen to the cries and the behaviors that she had, that she was screaming, you know, and to the point where I truly feel that when that time came and there was a decision about fighting and staying and letting go and leaving, she chose, I'm going to let go and leave because it's probably something better. Um, and so daily, even that's just a push for me. Even this is just the beginning of exposing and allowing other people to see beyond what they see, that it's a daily work, it's a daily push, it's a daily process of forgiving me, not just the things, the people, and the situations that's causing harm and keeping me, but it's forgiving me so that my next, it's greater, it's lighter, it's more fulfilling, and I can live, like truly live, and not just exist, and no longer run, no longer hide, no longer allowing other people to be comfortable because I've removed myself, but allowing them to be uncomfortable so that they can be accountable for their actions in causing someone else's harm and wanting to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
I'm emotional now.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I had no
Okay.
idea that was coming. I prayed and I was like, just let me be able to,
Yeah, that's
just be able
okay.
to do. But
I related to a lot of what you said because um I don't know if I want to go into all of that, but I really, when I woke up in the hospital in 1997, I didn't really want to be there. I was angry.
mhm.
um and now I look back and understand all of it so much better. It's a crying interview. But it's
I'm
good
sorry, but
because
I'm not sorry because that's the
no, don't
part
be
of
sorry
me
at all.
that I've always been ashamed of, right? Because I didn't feel that what I brought to the table was worthy, but that healer part of me, right? It's like
Mhm.
we all deserve to be healed. We all deserve to experience that. Um, and so I've hid that place, right? I've offered nuggets of it. Um, but then when people come back and say, oh my God, and oh, this and you and this, and I'm like, me? How that happened? Because I'm all tangled up in here. But part of this next for me is being okay with that and showing up and say, hey, we're going to heal. You're going to heal. And we're going to do it together, however you see fit and however uncomfortable. I'm here for you. Um, and yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yes, that's awesome. It's it's incredible knowing what I know about your story and seeing where you are. It's awesome.
Thank
And it doesn't mean we're finished. It doesn't mean that it's all perfect roses yet, but
you.
I definitely think both of us have come very far in these journeys, and there's good
Mhm.
on the other side.
Yeah.
And I love your theme of next. Um, anyway, so thank you for having this conversation with me today. It was,
Thank you
I
for
think
having me.
there's somebody out there, and probably more than one person that really needed to hear this. So, thank you for sharing, and I hope that anyone listening will join us for the book launch and learn more about all of the authors and their stories, and how they can help so many people. And it's going to be on September 22nd at 1 p.m. E- um, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be about 2 hours. And you can register at our website, which is realizefoundation.org. It's right below this video. And go to the events tab, and you can register for free, or you can register with a donation that we would greatly appreciate. So, either way, we hope we get to see you there. And I'm going to take Treyonda and I out of the stream so we can show you what the book's going to look like, and then we hope to hear from you.
Yes.